He best host in the business, man. Put some respect on his name.
Best host in the game, bro. I don't play that. I brings the energy out here.
And you know this,
And
man.
you know this. All right. Cool. All right. As soon as he get that, there we go. All right, I'm ready. Indian's head ass.
You think of the things to talk about later on the pod? He's probably like, yeah, I'm gonna get on that hat later. Like, relax.
Ooh, cool. All right, I'm ready. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the SGA podcast. I am Flash, a.k.a. Ree, a.k.a. Don't Call Me Henry, a.k.a. whatever. With me today, the squad, the best producer in the business, Dre Wingate. What's up, baby?
What up? How's it going, y'all?
My man, we chilling out here. And my partner in crime on the Flash and Dash podcast, Dash. What's up, baby?
Yeah.
What? And back off of hiatus.
What's
My man, Lance, Bang Bang. What's up, baby?
What it do, baby?
Oh, man. My light-skinned brother back in the game. How y'all feeling?
Oh, man. Life's good, living great. What about y'all? What's going on?
Life is good. Keep telling y'all. You wake up in the morning, life is good. Motivation. We out here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man. So, let me just roll in with some random ass bullshit, because you know that's what I do. That's what I do on these joints right here. Yo, you know, I've been watching that I don't know if anybody's caught it, that Netflix joint, the gaming shit, High Score, which dropped I think a few days ago. It's like a docuseries that talks about, like, starts with like the history of like gaming. And it's like talks to people that were influential about the history of gaming and how shit went. Starts out with a bunch of like Atari shit and just kind of rolls through different time periods, Mario, Nintendo, like Sega, Nintendo war and shit like that. And I've got through like three-ish episodes. It's dope as fuck. Like, and dope as fuck to the point where, like, the dude that created Space Invaders, which was like the reason, like, how we got here for games. Like, Space Invaders is like the ultimate godfather of games, period, right? So this dude, the Japanese dude that and I forget his name, that created a lot of his subtitle, because those dudes don't speak English, which is, you know, it's fine. He was talking about the ideas, the sketches he was coming up with for Space Invaders and how people want to be aliens and da-da-da-da. He was going through these different designs. He broke out this ledger, this book, right? It's maybe about this big or whatever. It was like navy blue. It was like, it was like falling apart. He was like, okay. He was like, he put it down on this table. He was like, you know, this is very, like, it's been through a lot. He's like, I got to turn the pages real slow because it's kind of falling apart a little bit. And it was just, to me, like, seeing that as, you know, 37, being a guy who's played games over 30 years and has seen a lot of this stuff. I've come up with all of this stuff. I came through the revolution of what games are now. Like, to me, like, that really hit. Like, for me, it was like, yo, this is the Bible of video games that this man just brought out and put on this table. Like, that shit was like such a surreal moment for me, where, like, and it's so, and it had all the sketches that he was like, the different, like, aliens, how it was like a squid design and an octopus, and how he translated it to like bit style and a lot of like coding shit. It was just like, yo, this is like the genesis of video games that this guy is just like scrolling through right now on this documentary. It was so dope. It was just like, it was so dope. It was so dope. And it's just like, you know, and then they got into shit about Mario. And look, again, we're not, and I don't want to, and hopefully, you know, y'all got some stuff to take me off a gaming rant, but I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. And not that I didn't know this before, but getting through the couple of episodes that I got through, Nintendo saved video games. And I need y'all to really understand that. because Atari almost killed video games because while they were like the foundation for like, you know, all those games hit like Space Invaders, Galaga, all that shit was great.
Mhm.
What happened with Atari was they became a company that was like, let's just put games out. It became quantity over quality. They stopped caring about how good the games were. They were just like, let's flood the market with just a bunch of fucking video games. And most of them were complete garbage. So it was just like, oh, people were like, oh, this is just like a toy thing, whatever. Like people stopped caring. And then Nintendo came through with Mario, and that was it. It's a fucking wrap. Okay, so Nintendo saved video games, just so we're clear.
Look, I know you're having one of those moments right now, but I can't relate, Ree.
Hey,
Because
look.
I grew when my first video game experience was with PlayStation and Nintendo. So,
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm starting with. So I don't really have anything to bet. So, granted, I did play, Atari actually later on down the line, which is cool. And those were great games. But at the time, Nintendo and PlayStation were really PlayStation was at peak form then.
By then, it was they had already everything was already figured out by then. It was fine. Gaming was fine. But in the early stages,
the beta age of video games.
In the early stages, that shit was in trouble. Okay, and Nintendo swooped in like a motherfucker. It was like da 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 da.
Game. Here we go. Ugh. Hey man, that's crazy.
But it's cool. It's just cool seeing the progression of like, and even though I witnessed it firsthand and grew up with it, it's still dope going back. And because I'm learning a lot of shit that I didn't know, because a lot of things like behind the scenes that you don't know, that's like you learn through watching shit like this. For example, again, I'm not trying to video game rant, but again, like I learned that Pac-Man was created to get females into games, because games before Pac-Man were all about shooting shit. You know, like Missile Command, Galaga, Space Invaders. It was just like shoot things. And that's because video games were like, they were targeted for boys, like just shoot things. And now a lot of boys played video. I like to shoot things. We like to shoot shit, and we like racing. We like things to be fast and to shoot things. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Fast and loud.
And then they were like, okay, this Japanese dude was like, how do we get girls to play video games? And they were like, okay, they don't like to shoot things. What do they like to do? And they were like, well, we can make a character that likes to eat things. And I'm like, well, let's try that. And the one dude was like, he was in a pizza place, and then like there was a slice or two missing, and it was like, that's an interesting design. And that became the fucking design for Pac-Man. And then teenage girls in America ate that shit up, figuratively speaking. So it was just like no pun intended. So it was like Pac-Man became a thing because Pac-Man was targeted towards females. And then boom, Pac-Man became huge. It's just interesting. Little shit like that is just really interesting over the course of the year. And we know, and everybody's heard the story about Madden and where Madden has come through. And like in its original days, it was a thing that almost didn't get off the ground, because Trip Hawkins, the original like kind of founder of Electronic Arts, was on a train with Madden for like 2 days across the country because he was trying to sell him on this video game, because they were trying to figure out how to get football how to incorporate it into football games. And it was to a point where he was asking Madden, okay, how do we get 7-on-7 football to work in a thing? And Madden was like, I'm not co-signing that because that's not football. Football is 11-on-11. And he was like shook, because he was like, I don't think we can get this to work structurally. What we have with the software, with the hardware that we have available, we can't get 11-on-11 to work. But he couldn't tell him that. So he was just like, okay, we'll
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll wing it. And we'll
but
just, you know.
Luckily, at that time, the Genesis was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Sega Genesis was rolling through with 16-bit because they couldn't get that to work on 8-bit, even though Tecmo Super Bowl got it to work. But
hey,
but again, I'm not going.
It was a fun game. It's a very fun game.
I'm not going. But Genesis came through, and at the same time, the CEO of Genesis of America, Sega of America, was looking for sports because that was part of his plan. Was more sports. How do we get the Genesis to work in America? We need more sports. And it was at that time where he was looking for sports and Trip Hawkins was looking for a way to make 11-on-11 football work in a video game. And EA Sports was like fucking born right there. It's interesting to see all this shit. Like you watch these documentaries and like, yo, that's fucking dope. Like,
yeah.
And,
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was on there. Like, I haven't been on there in a few days. Yeah. How long has it been up? Did it just get added?
Long. Yeah, like within the week. Like literally went up within the week. Yeah, it's dope. It's called High Score. That. Like,
yeah. And like thinking about that is like me thinking 20, 30 years from now, everything's gonna be VR. Like everything's gonna be like that's. I feel like mostly it's gonna be VR.
It's
gonna be crazy. Like,
that's
another 100 years. Ready Player One status.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That would be dope.
I don't doubt that for a second. That's the only natural direction for this to go because it's like graphics can only get so good, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like video games have to have a natural direction to go. And VR has kind of been like up and down, and the really good shit is too expensive. The shit that's affordable is kind of like, it's okay, I guess. Mm-hmm. If you got motion sickness, you're like, I can't really fuck with it.
Right.
And it's just like, so it's like, it's got this weird, I need to be to a point where it's like, I can put something on that's not this bulky thing, all these wires hanging all over this place. I just need it to be like where I can put on like a pair of sunglasses and have my wireless controller, and that's it. Okay. If we can get to that point, I think we'll be
I feel like that would be the first step. I think that's like a combination of console, VR, you know what I mean, like heavy, like, you know, next gen, the one after this one type of console or whatever. Yep. But I think that'd be cool. Like, I think that, hey, man, but no, that's dope. Also, I did not know that that's kind of how EA Sports went about getting into Madden because, like you said, Tecmo Bowl at the time was pretty dope.
Super Tecmo and Tecmo Bowl was revolutionary for what it did, and then they came back with Super Tecmo Bowl, and that just changed everything because that made it. They had a very structural design that was very different. Tecmo Bowl was kind of like loose and fast, and the names were like all over the place, and it was like didn't have all the teams. And then Super Tecmo Bowl, they were like, nah, let's streamline this a little bit, put all the teams in there, let's get all the player names right, the numbers, all of that shit. Which is why, and I keep telling people, and I'll die on the Super Tecmo Bowl hill. I don't care because there's a reason why every year they still release a new updated roster for Super Tecmo Bowl online on
people still play it.
TecmoBowl.org. They got an online component, like they update things in the gameplay, not just rosters. They change like fumble frequency and this and that, what you can do with plays and timeouts and all this, whatever the case may be. They update the game still to this day. So it's like there's a reason for that. If they didn't, if the game was trash, it would have been left where it was. Like nobody would bother to keep playing,
like picking it up,
right. But they keep playing it. There's a community that keep playing it and keeps updating the rosters and the teams and the jersey colors and all the little intricacies of the gameplay because the shit was lit. There's a reason why the game still holds up today. Like that shit was fun as fuck. I'd play that before I'm like, let me play Madden. It's just like
depends on which Madden. I don't know.
It does depend on which Madden. It depends.
I would play any of the ones before, let's say, 2012-ish time frame.
That's exactly the number I was gonna say. So you absolutely nailed it. Anything before 2012, boom.
I'd play it.
Chef's kiss. But
and to be honest, I would
rosters.
prefer NCAA. I prefer NCAA over
Most
like I played NCAA more than I played Madden. When NCAA went away, I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken, man. Like that Reggie Bush era and all that. Man, I remember when was it Carson Palmer? Was he on there or something like that?
Whoa.
Matt Leinart, like
taking it all the way back.
Man.
Yeah, that's
who was on the cover when they had Oregon? I'm talking PlayStation 2 days, man. Man, first game with option on it and everything. I was loving that time period. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
that was lit.
And then when they upgraded the connected franchises, that was one of the top tier games. Never touched Madden.
Upload the graduating seniors to the draft class and everything.
That was yep. And that's when it was peak for me. I like when those games were together. That's when I had the most fun on Madden because I could take what I did on NCAA and take it straight into Madden.
And put it into Madden, right? Yeah. That's what that was.
And
lit. NCAA was
before. I remember when they used to just straight transfer. Like if you were a 99 in NCAA, then you'd be a 99 in Madden. But then they kind of buffed it to where like if you're one of the top players, obviously you'd be like somewhere in the low 80s, high 70s, something like that. And I liked it. It was a good feature.
It was.
Will we ever get it again?
No,
doubt it.
Probably not.
2K might come back and take over all sports games, man.
That's
2K
okay.
Hoops.
They need to.
They might end up making an NCAA 2K. Who knows?
Hey, I'm here for it.
I'm here for all of that, man.
And that's something I had mentioned before. Was like competition is necessary. Without it, we have problems. We have problems with games without it because EA's been killing. EA killed Madden. EA killed NHL. They're killing FIFA. Like
they killed NBA
Live. They killed NBA Live a long time. I forgot about that. They killed NBA Live a long time ago.
It's just like Gilbert Arenas on the cover. Jesus,
bro. And what's crazy about all that is that again, competition is necessary. We need 2K and EA because I believe EA has they can do this right. They've done this right in the past. All of these games.
That's how they got the exclusives to stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand. Yeah.
All of these games at some point in time were top notch. Madden, FIFA, NHL, all of that shit. So it's like even NBA Live at one point in time. So it's like there's no reason.
Brief moment
and
in time.
And not even that, but it's with lesser tech at that. Which makes it even worse. Which is why I always tell people the progression of technology, again, because I've seen all the progression of technology from fucking 8-bit to where we are now. Just because we progress tech-wise and graphics-wise isn't necessarily always a good thing. Because companies are just like, oh, we can do more, so let's just push graphics, right? And because we started to push graphics, this started back in the PlayStation days. Because we started the first PlayStation, because we started to push graphics, gameplay started to suffer. And we're where we're at now because gameplay has continued to suffer, which is why we got so many games that are trash because they're like, oh, graphics. It looks
good, but it just doesn't play good.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody cares. And as a retro, and again, I fashion myself as a retro gamer. Yeah,
you're up there.
As a retro gamer, I'm under the firm belief that gameplay is always going to be infinitely more important than what you can do graphically, because I'm from an era where graphics weren't a thing. It's just like, oh, those games are cool, they had nice colors, but Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Super Nintendo, the graphics were cool. Yeah, they look nice, but we didn't play those games because they looked cool. We played those games because the gameplay was amazing. Talking about Super Mario World and those type of games, Contra, all these games, all these the Super Tecmo Bowls, the Ninja Gaidens of the world, all these games, the Super Metroids, the Castlevania games, all these games had excellent gameplay. They looked like crap, most of them, but the gameplay was elite. And
complete game, at least.
Right. and we made like this structural change when we got to like the PlayStation, Nintendo 64 days, mainly PlayStation, because I'm not gonna hold you. A lot of PlayStation games were terrible. They looked nice, but they were trash because too many developers were focused on let's make it look good, right? We got this new we can push graphics. Let's make it look good. Let's make it look good, and play like shit.
Yeah, hey.
And
blame them for that. Blame them for that.
And my hot take, here we go, for this podcast is PlayStation 2 was not as good as everybody remembers. And let me tell you why.
Yeah, please tell me why.
And yes, the PlayStation numbers wise over the years have sold like gangbusters, right?
Probably no one will ever catch those numbers.
Right. And let me tell you a part of the reason why that is. And again, not the whole reason, of course, but a part of the reason why the PlayStation 2's got gangbuster numbers, because it was the first because it had a DVD player. A lot of people were like, and at that time, DVD players almost cost about the same as the PlayStation 2 did.
Yeah. They were like $100 some. Yeah,
why not buy a PS2 that could play games? What the fuck am I buying a DVD player when the PS2 played DVDs? That's just a stupid purchase separately. Like, I'm not going to buy a DVD player. I'm going to buy a PS2 because I could play my DVDs and I could play fire games. But again, let's backtrack into our brains and let me ask y'all, what fire-ass games do you remember from PS2?
San Andreas.
That's not Grand Theft Auto.
Why are you doing this? I had games that were fun for my time frame, like NBA Street. What you call it? They had the NFL Street, Def Jam. So NBA.
So far,
NFL,
all you've named are
Jam.
EA games.
You have Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy was good.
Final Fantasy 10 was good. Gran Not the best Final Fantasy 7 ever.
Need for Speed.
Okay, Need for Speed was on everything though. PS2
but I was playing on PlayStation.
Was the first to do it at that time, and then Microsoft came in and everybody got the same.
Yeah. But we talking about at the time though. We talking about.
I can hold you. You're right, because I had those same Pursuit and Underground.
Did you have? Didn't they also have Call of Duty Big Red 1?
Yeah, they did, but.
What you mean? Big Red 1? That was the Call of Duty before Call of Duty became what it is now.
And y'all not telling me games that you would go and buy a PS2 for.
NCAA.
All the OG Dragon Ball Z games, like all the Budokai games.
The PS2.
Hey, the Budokai games though, for sure.
The PS2 is the greatest selling like console with the least amount of fire games that you remember not named Grand Theft Auto.
Besides the point. Moving on. Yeah, they had a lot of good games, man.
I'm not saying they didn't have good games, but comparatively speaking to what
did they really even have exclusives like that?
But they only had exclusives because Microsoft wasn't out yet, and then once the Xbox came out,
Xbox was better.
They had the same games once it came out.
Yeah, it was better. It was better. The graphics are better. I wanted to play Xbox more based off
better graphics. Because it had a built-in hard drive.
Yep.
And
all that. Didn't have to have a memory card.
Yep. Yeah, that memory card. I probably had about 8 megabyte memory cards.
That's the big name, Halo. Me too. I had like at least 4 of them, but Halo was the big because you could be online.
Halo's the reason Microsoft is still on the scene. Halo was what they needed to.
That was their exclusive,
right? To really get in on the market. And again, that PS2 was gangbusters because it was a DVD player.
Not to me. I used it. I wasn't watching DVDs at the time, but hey,
I
can see why.
DVDs on it
because
either.
even when the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 3 was so big on putting the Blu-ray, and I was like, okay, I really don't care about that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't care about y'all doing too much. No,
it's funny because because where we've gotten to today, nobody really cares about that stuff as much because nobody's has physical movies anymore like that. Nobody really cares about Blu-ray or what.
You're streaming lucky to get it in standard edition.
But see, I thought you were gonna go a different route with what you were gonna say about the PS2. I thought you were gonna say that the reason they sold so many units was because everyone had at least two. Because whatever the first PlayStation 2 you had, whatever reason, it broke or stopped working for whatever reason. So you always had everyone had at least two PlayStation 2.
I would say this.
That's another good point.
I have one PS2.
Good for you.
Did you really?
Broke. Yeah.
Good for you.
You're a lucky one.
Well, hey, look, and as much as I'm saying that, and how much as I say, and I'm Xbox to the throttle now, I've had a few Xbox 360s.
Oh, bro, chill. Xbox 360 is broke as fuck.
I
only had two Xbox 360s.
Ones,
well, I haven't had a few Xbox Ones. I haven't had any problems with my Xbox One. And
I haven't had any.
Even the
OG, I got different Xbox Ones because I just upgraded.
I upgraded. The original OG one, I didn't have a problem with. And then by that time, I had already upgraded to the One X.
Yeah.
So I was already... And the One X is flawless.
I went to the One S first, and then
with the 360, like I got the red ring.
Everybody got
I sent it in. They sent it back to me.
They were
like, it's fixed.
And again,
and then when I got it again, I got lucky because at that time, that's when the Slim came out.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, well, let me just get the Slim. And once I got the Slim, I never had any issues with it.
Yeah, me neither. I never had money with the Slim either.
And just for you Sony people out there, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Like PS3 didn't have the same problem because it absolutely did. It just didn't have a fancy name.
Like a private jet. Like,
and so does and now that you say that, the PS4 has that same problem. PS4 Pro have the same loud problem.
Yeah.
But
not to say that any system will be silent, because even Xbox, once it gets hot, the fans come on. But it's not like
heavy. But it kicks back down.
Exactly. Fast too.
Yeah, quick.
They learn from Red Ring.
Oh yeah, of course. They absolutely learn from Red Ring. And the Xbox One X is great. And the Microsoft controller is perfect. That is Microsoft figured out the controller game quick. Because they were like, and again, the design of their controller plus Halo was like, okay, this is how a shooting game is designed to be played. And they figured that out quick. That offset thumbstick is so natural to me at this point that I'm like,
me too.
I can't even imagine. When I look at the Sony controller, I'm like, I don't even want any part of that. Because they've done tests psychologically where the offset thumbstick makes more sense, because psychologists say that your brain understands that because offset in that way, that it understands that these two things have to be doing two different things. Versus the Sony one, where it's right next to each other, where your brain doesn't quite understand, like,
they do different things.
Supposed to be doing different things.
Yep.
Like it's a very interesting thing. But again, Microsoft perfected the Xbox 360 controller was the perfection of controllers, and they just kind of upgraded it a little bit with the Xbox One controller. And now the Elite controller is probably the most perfect controller ever designed.
Love it.
Ever. Give me one.
Period.
Love it. Weight of it. I love the weight of it. Especially for shooters.
Yeah, it's
just,
not
man,
even.
Like they like them light little controllers, but that Elite controller, man, the weight to it, what you can do to it, and put the tabs on it on the back, it's just it's a great thing. The sensitive, bro, with the Elite controller.
I haven't gotten the 2 yet. I gotta upgrade to the 2. You can
adjust the way your movements are via your thumbstick on the app, like how quickly you react. Like if you want to just like slam it to the left, or you want it to be delayed, or you want it to ease in, like speed up, like go in slow, all that. Like
that stuff is
you
worth the money.
Hey,
it's worth the money if you playing, if you in the games like that, and if you're not just like if you're not like a super casual gamer, you have your system like, I only play it once in a while. That's not for you. But if you're playing games like that, on a more than casual level,
especially
that elite controller,
games,
that elite controller is money. Dre, you got to get up on that elite controller.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one. But I'm gonna switch gears real quick, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this segment called "What Were You Thinking?"
Oh shit!
Because a lot of stuff happened this week in the news. Now, I don't know if these people actually knew what they were thinking. So, number one, we're gonna start off with the announcer for the Nuggets game.
Oh shit!
Typing the tweet, thinking he's spelling Nuggets, but he's spelling another N-word with the hard ER attached to it. So he comes out and apologizes, says, hey, I was trying to spell Nuggets, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know if he has an iPhone or an Android. I haven't had any of the newer Androids.
Go ahead.
But I do know on an iPhone.
I know what you're getting to.
When you're doing autocorrect and you're typing something, things that you type a lot are the stuff that pop up.
That's
on the autocorrect.
My first thought.
Now, I'm looking at my keyboard right now. Now, granted, when you're spelling Nuggets on your keyboard, if he was using a laptop or something, it's going to be the same thing on the phone. The U and the I are next to each other and the E and the R are next to the T and all that kind of stuff. I get it, but I mean, you can still look, and you should always read what you're writing before you hit send.
Especially if you're in the infrastructure like that. You're a person. Come on.
And, I mean, I get it. I understand. Like people want to be first. They want to send things out there. You don't want to be like, oh, I said this first. You copied me and all that kind of stuff. But there comes a point, proofread. So his career pretty much done. Now there have been, because I think I remember someone saying that he was the color analyst or announcer, whatever, for like a WNBA team.
About to be the uncolored analyst.
And people came out in his defense and they said he's not like that, yada yada. But a lot of people aren't like that in person. But when he's when he's chatting with his friends, texting, that word must be coming out a lot. So I mean, I don't want to assume nothing, but I'm just saying I know how autocorrect works.
Yeah.
So he's number one. Number two, we got the same position kind of for the Reds, and he had a hot mic.
I didn't hear about this.
So he didn't know that his mic was hot, and he's talking, and he drops the F-bomb, and not the F-bomb like when you curse, and we talk about the F-bomb in the sense of the LGBTQ community.
That's worse.
That's tough, especially
that's worse.
So he's dropping that, and I think when it happened, like one of the players hit a home run, so he's just talking randomly, and he's like, "Oh, so and so just hit a home run." It was during his apology, so he caught himself that he said it, and his mic was hot. So like now he's on air apologizing. Then he announces, "Dude hit a home run," comes back and finishes his apology. And then he says, "This will probably be the last time I ever wear a headset." And then he just leaves.
Yikes.
Because he just knows at that point.
Put in your 2 weeks now, sir. Get your pension while you can.
Like, you're done at that point. So that was crazy. So those are two. And here's the third one.
Ooh.
And this third one we're probably going to have to talk about.
I love this.
Because we as black men,
Uh-oh.
we ain't doing right.
Uh-oh.
And sometimes we ain't smart. Sure. And not in the sense that we can't do things intellectually. Sometimes we just don't think things through. So y'all heard about the whole Tory Lanez and Meg the Stallion situation, right?
And you know what's funny is that I've seen stuff about this. I haven't heard about it personally.
All right, so I'm gonna catch you up.
I've seen, catch me up.
Basically, Tory and Megan, I don't know the extent of their relationship, companionship, whatever, but they were hanging out, whatever. Things got crazy. Things started popping off. So Tory Lanez basically shot Meg the Stallion in the foot.
Oh,
twice.
Okay, right.
Twice, 2 times, 2 chains.
Like some Harlem Night
So-
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
the cops show up, all this kind of stuff. Everyone's asked to leave the vehicle, and you see there's like video footage of like the cops having Meg
Meg on the
walk
ground,
the line, and you see like the blood
bleeding
on the pavement,
Oh
and all this
man.
kind of stuff. And at that point, everyone's like, well, who, like, was it an accident? Who shot who? What was the reason? And because no one was saying anything, Meg was real quiet about everything. And then here comes Tory Lanez and all his people coming out, putting all this information out there and all this kind of stuff. Meg's still quiet about everything. And Tory and his people, they just keep on going and going and going. So then Meg goes on Instagram Live, and she spills the beans of the whole situation.
Oh my God.
And she ends up saying that the reason she didn't say anything, like he was basically being like abusive and stuff like that. But the reason she didn't say anything in that situation is because she knew cops are involved, and she knows what happens with cops and black people when weapons are involved. So she's protecting the person that shot her because she doesn't want him to get shot.
Wow.
And he's not. So in all the situation, like everyone knows if you're in a situation, you know what really happened. It's just that I'm going to tell my side of the story, you're going to tell your side of the story. But in the in the middle, we all know the truth. The people involved know the truth. So Tory Lanez should have known the truth. And his thing is, he's like, all right, Meg ain't saying nothing. I'm actually kind of getting away with this. So I'm going to just be quiet and continue on what little of a career I actually have.
Damn.
Nah, it's over. His career's over.
It's over?
Now, because now with her saying everything,
he shot
with
Shorty.
her,
He's over.
With Meg coming out on IG Live saying everything she said, here's what's happened to Tory Lanez. One, obviously people are canceling Tory Lanez.
He's out.
Number two, all the artists that he has recently made tracks with, they're taking him off of their albums.
Damn.
So that's no money for him.
That sucks.
I also believe that the last album that he just put out, the last album that he put out,
I like them chicks.
I think that was the last album for his contract.
Damn.
Now he's not even.
Yeah, he's independent.
Yeah, he's not signed to anybody. So all these legal fees, he gonna have to front that bill himself.
Sound like a setup to me, man. Sound like a setup to me.
So, but here's my issue. My issue is Twitter, because why are people on Twitter with all this? They call him Meg a snitch.
I love Twitter. I mean, they call 6ix9ine one, but he out here free. So.
But all right. I'm glad you brought that up, because here are the two situations. 6ix9ine was dealing with gang affiliation, gang culture, all that kind of stuff. Everyone knows about gang culture. Like, what we're doing is not legal. What we're doing is not morally right. So if you're going to be a part of this, if you're going to do this, then you're doing this on your own free will. You're doing this, realizing what you're going to get into, all that kind of stuff. And if you get caught, you get caught. Now, and so that's where snitching comes from, because they get caught and, they say stuff so they don't go to jail or prison for however long. In this situation, Meg ain't asked for nothing criminally to be done to her. She ain't asked to be shot in the foot. She didn't think she was going to get shot in the foot.
Right.
Well, we don't know the facts. We don't know the facts in that. And I didn't know Tory Lanez is only 5'3", 120 pounds.
Oh, he's short.
Whoa, what?
Meg Stallion is like 5'9", 200 pounds.
She's a...
We don't know. We don't know what was going on.
She's a stallion.
5'10".
For sure. We already know.
Right.
She's built
6'2" in heels.
She's built
and
proper.
the knees strong. Them knees are strong. So he might have needed that help. He really might have. Maybe he used it to protect himself, and she grabbed it or whatever, or maybe not. I don't know.
We've all handled guns before. Like,
have we? I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
Really?
No, I've been trying on going to a shooting range, because I got a shooting range, a very popular one right here, close to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't.
Do it, man. Take Courtney.
I've never gone.
Take LT with you. He'll tell you what to do. Well, I hope he can.
I've just never gone.
Well, I think that we forget how strong guns actually are. Like, that very first time you shoot a gun and you feel that recoil.
Mm-hmm. That
kickback. That ain't nothing that you can prepare yourself for. Like people tell you, hey, now you need to be prepared. You need to be, but it's one of those things where you've got to do it to feel and witness it.
Right.
So she's lucky to even have just been shot in the foot.
Right.
That's true.
Because he could have lost control, and that joint could have ricocheted and hit her in the thigh. Could have hit the driver. That bullet could have gone anywhere.
Because he's small, right? So never.
Right. So, and in certain parts of your body, you get hit. Yeah, you could have flesh wounds, but then you can also nick an artery, and you could have
bleed out.
That's true.
That kind of stuff.
Yep.
So
I heard she got lucky and none of that happened, but yeah.
Yeah. So like Lance said, we don't know all the facts.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he decided to pull the gun out. I don't know if he asked her to do something and she said, no, I'm not doing it. And then he used it as like intimidation, or she did something and he felt threatened.
I'm sure he felt threatened because she towered over him.
She's a big dude. So I don't know. But all I know is in that situation, like, bro, you shot the gun, you shot her in the foot. You've been getting away. I think it's been at least a month since it's happened, I think. So for at least a month, you've been getting away with it. Clearly. Like no one's been talking about it on social media, all that kind of stuff. She released a brand new song with Cardi. She's been doing all this other stuff.
Yeah, what?
And then you just want to come out and keep saying stuff. And she dropped that truth bomb, and now your career just
that video.
Hey, but I cannot stress enough. I want to believe what she said, but hey, as of right now, we don't know. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen.
But that public
there's no
opinion.
Context behind. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure on that. But there's no context behind. Yeah, this Tory shot me. It's not specific enough because you don't know what happened. Were y'all tussling? Apparently it was his gun, but what if it wasn't his gun? What if she pulled it? I mean, who knows?
Nobody knows.
Like, it could have went. It could have went. It could have went a whole bunch of different ways. But like you said, the impact on his career and in general, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what it was, nobody.
If she was staying quiet about it throughout the whole time, both he and his team should have stayed quiet about it too.
Right.
Like, that's the way I'm looking at it. So because they kept saying stuff, and if what they saying was not the truth, that's probably the reason why she came on live and said what she said. So we don't, and like the thing, we don't know. We were not in that SUV.
Yeah.
We don't know what was said, what was done. We just know what the police chopper, the police chopper caught in the air. Mm-hmm. What he and his team have been saying on social media. What did they say
though?
So they said that. Let me see if I can.
Because I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't see it, but I've seen her response or whatever.
I ain't seen none of it. I know what I have seen, that WAP video.
We're gonna need you to get caught up on your social media game.
Was that before or after the shooting?
That was after. Well, the video. I don't know if the video and the song was done before, but the video was released afterwards.
That video. Cardi got too many enhancements now. I'm a little disappointed in that. That hurts my heart.
Because she didn't look that good before.
You know what? I get it.
I'm not.
I understand what you're saying. I get it. I just
don't make me pull out one of her old videos.
No,
you don't want to do that.
No, we don't. I agree, but I think there's too many in my head. I'm like, there's too many below the neck enhancements for me. I'm like,
she needed them, Marie. I'm sorry, she needed them. Maybe one, maybe not like 5, but maybe
That's what I'm saying. Like, all right,
maybe 2.
Too many maybe at this 2. Point. Like, we've passed the point maybe of no. There was too many. Like,
yeah,
good. 2. Like, there was a point where I was like, oh, Cardi, she looked nice, and now I'm like,
the thing I liked about Cardi was her attitude was like big enough and bright enough. She didn't need all that.
She didn't.
And now she's got both.
Yeah,
and I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I mean, I like her though. I still like her.
Yeah, I fuck with her, but it's too much. What's funny? Yeah. I realized that especially after listening to that song.
Oh, but just to answer your question. So it seems like he was abusive.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
And then other people have come out basically saying that he's been abusive before, but none of the other girls have been like anywhere near
came forward. Okay.
Well, no, they haven't been anywhere near the celebrity status or the notoriety as Meg Thee Stallion. Okay. So like people really didn't know about it and stuff like that.
So Tory Lanez is trash. Got it.
That's tough.
But I mean, Lance makes a good point. Like right now we've seen or heard his side. We've heard her side. You know, people are picking sides. We don't know the truth. My biggest thing is whether it's right or wrong, or not whether it's right or wrong, whether it's the truth or a lie. If she was quiet from the time of the incident all the way up until, you know, yesterday, I think is when the IG live happened, he should have been quiet. Like, you handle, I'm always all about handling business, you know, behind the scenes. Like, we don't need everybody, especially when you're a celebrity. Like, people gonna be in your business anyway. So if you can handle it behind the scenes, handle it behind the scenes. Because once it gets out, you know, it's like this. We're talking about it, and
it was out that night. The chopper got him.
Well, so, the incident was, but like the whole truth and everything behind it, you know, because something else ended up happening and everyone forgot about it, stopped talking about it. So I think he messed up there by just not staying quiet and letting them, you know, handle that stuff behind the scenes, and he could still have a career. Because whether it's the truth or a lie, his career, it goes down. Now, if it comes out that whatever he was saying was the truth, and if Meg was telling a lie, not saying she was, I'm just saying for devil's advocate, if it's the other way around, you know, then her career will come down. I'm not saying his career will come up because of that, just because of other girls coming out and saying stuff, but for him, he's in a lose-lose situation kind of deal.
Yes.
So
especially right now with the perception, no matter what. Especially now.
And we all know perception can be a killer.
Yeah. I feel like it was a killer in general, though. I feel like it was like in general. You're like, Tory Lanez shot Meg for what? You know what I mean? Like wow.
Right.
What do you
I think they had just posted a photo on like Instagram earlier that day.
They did
or
a
the day
live
before
with her
or something
and
like
Kylie.
that.
They did her. That was the same night. I guess they said that he was flirting with Kylie and she got mad. Supposedly, I don't know, but I would flirt with Kylie too, so she had to be mad at me too.
So those are my 3 people from this week. You know, what were you thinking? Because
that's crazy.
2020, it's out here getting people.
Man,
2020 done got everybody somehow.
Yeah.
Y'all heard somebody in California got the plague?
Whole plague out here. Lake Tahoe. Plague.
Hey, what is going on out here?
From a flea or some shit. Plague.
Yo.
Plague, bro.
I'm like, yo, we can't. I mean, and I know real life is that just because January 1st of 2021 comes doesn't necessarily mean we get a refresh or restart.
We don't get a reset button.
But I'm hoping January 1st, 2021, we get a refresh and a restart.
It's going to be 2020 volume 2.
Right.
Like, this ain't... some dude said that he expects coronavirus to be around for at least 2 years.
I believe it.
I believe that too.
Like,
this shit ain't just gonna go away. We still get new cases every day. We're not even
cases going up
every day.
Hey, Lance, someone that obviously we're graduating, we don't go to the high school no more, but someone at the high school got COVID.
God.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's intense.
And you know, with it being, you know, on base.
Ugh. That's not a good look.
Quarantine. But hey, I don't know, man.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
At all.
But can you avoid it, though? That's the thing. Can you avoid it? You can.
You can avoid it.
You
can avoid it just as long as you precaution yourself properly. I've avoided it, and I'd be out there every day.
Me too. I'm not saying that. Look, I didn't miss a beat.
Gloves and mask.
I didn't even do the gloves part most of the time.
I think the older you are, you can avoid it because a lot of the stuff that you do, like, it's your choice. Like, if you choose to go out, you chose to go out. I think when you're younger, like, people are telling you what to do.
Right.
So, like, you know, your parents might not believe that it exists, or they might say, well, let's go out here. Or
we know who
school
those
might say,
people are.
you know, hey, you need to go to school. So, like, if you're younger, like, I don't think you can control it as much. But the older you get, you can definitely control it because everything that you do, it's your choice. Now, granted, if your job says you got to come into work and there's someone at your job that's not wearing a mask or doing all that kind of stuff, I think that's the only thing that you can control.
Right.
But outside of that, you can pretty much kind of control your interaction with people.
Correct.
I think obviously for the younger ones, they can't as much.
No, that's 100% true. And I just you take your precautions, you do what you got to do, try to be safe, avoid this stuff. If you got to go out, you go out, wear your mask. If you're going to be around people, if you have an essential job, or most jobs now, a lot of people have gone back to work. They've opened up this stuff back. So, but you do what you have to do to keep yourself protected. And, mask if you need to wear, if you got to do gloves, you got to do whatever the case may be. You got to do what you got to do.
See, at my job, when we're in our personal space, whether that's your office or your cubicle, anything like that, because that's yours, you don't have to wear your mask. But
right.
The moment you leave your personal space,
you have to right. It's the same thing.
Have that mask on.
Correct. The same thing for me. If you're in your space, you're in your case, you're doing what you gotta do. Once you leave it, you have to mandate, you have to have your mask on. But again,
seems like we got some internet issues with some of our
that's all right.
SGA members.
It's just one of those things. Internet is finicky. Look, we all work, everybody doing this home thing. Everybody's doing what they got to do. And just sometimes you're just going to run into hiccups. This is what it is. Sometimes they got to fix what they got to fix. They come back in, not come back in. It's cool, at the moment. Dash has been out for a little bit. We just have, Bang Bang Lane just drop out for a little bit. Who knows? Is he going to come back? He might come back. Who knows?
He might.
But we're gonna
someone else might pop in later on.
Who knows? We just, this is what we do. SGA, you know what I'm saying? We just keep it rolling. We keep it rolling like it ain't no thing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no thing. We're gonna keep the bus trucking. Man.
But what's on your mind? What you got? Man,
what don't I have? It's now that you ask me that,
oh Lord.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me not to like. I'm gonna avoid the Madden train. Okay, I'm gonna try. Once y'all people come here, we just Flash and Dash podcast. We jumped into Madden. We talked about a lot of that. EA is trash. They're killing Madden. They killed Madden. They're killing FIFA. They killed NHL.
Killing sports.
They killed NBA Live. Goddamn FIFA. EA. All you doing now is just giving.
EA killed golf too.
They did. They killed it and buried it. They just. They killed Tiger Woods, and then the Roy McIlroy joint wasn't very good, and they just decided to kill that. Just like, oh my God, you had all these good franchises, and you just buried them into nothingness. I hate it. It's terrible. Look, but to not, again, get away from Madden and all that stuff. There's I'm going to plug Game Pass. You knew that was coming. Game Pass is amazing, and everybody should have it, provided that you have the proper infrastructure to be on it. PC, Xbox, Game Pass is fantastic. I love it so much. I tried watching, switching from games. I don't know if I talked about this on here before. I don't remember. I haven't watched it in the past few days or so. But I started watching Umbrella Academy because I saw the second season of Umbrella Academy on Netflix went live.
I think we talked about it in the group.
We might have.
Because I think the thing with Umbrella Academy, and I've had this conversation with other people as well, it's not one of those shows where, so when you dropped, everyone's like, yo, you gotta watch. You yeah, it's crazy, yeah, this is happening, but you gotta watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's certain, when certain Netflix specials drop, people are like, man, that was trash. There's always a collective, there's always positive and negative, but there's always a collective that is the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've been hearing from Umbrella Academy, it's literally split down the line.
It is.
There are people that are like, yo, man, it's a great show. You got to watch it. You'll love it. And then some people are like, man, this show is not the hype that everybody built it up for. It's trash. I wasted my time watching it. So I haven't even started watching the show, and I'm sitting here like, do I even waste my time to try and watch it? Because do I waste 3 to 4 episodes to try and be like, okay, I love this show, or do I waste 3 to 4 episodes to be like, man, I can't stand this show?
It's gonna take you longer than 3 to 4. I'll tell you right now, because I'm about 5 or 6 in, and I don't know what this show's about yet. I haven't.
Couldn't tell from the trailer.
No, and I'm still watching it because I'm like, I need to know why I'm here. Why am I watching? Like, they promote this show. You know, you look at the description, you watch it, like, you know, these kids were born from just random, you know, mothers just got pregnant out of nowhere, right? And it's just like, they have.
Are they supposed to be like superheroes or something?
I don't fucking know. I don't. They have abilities. And the premise is that they were superheroes when they were kids, but you see none of that. All of you see, they're adults, and like for like 5 minutes, they touched on like, oh, they were kids and they went to do missions, and then that's it. And then they jump back.
So they're washed up heroes.
No, not even that. Like, they're just like, they just don't do it anymore. They were like these anomaly kids from like these 40-something odd mothers. This billionaire was able to acquire like 7 or 8 of them to make his like the Umbrella Academy, and for them to do missions and like, but they don't explain any of that shit. They don't. 5-6 episodes in, you've spent 5 minutes like they used to be heroes. Some they've done missions, but you don't even. Several of the characters, you don't even know what they can do.
It's 2 seasons on Netflix, right?
Yeah, the second season just went live like recently, within the last couple of weeks. And I don't understand. Like, one of them, you know, can like time travel. He can like teleport and shit. And one of them was just like strong, and he got these extra abilities from experiment. And it's just like, I have no fucking clue what any of the other ones can do. There's like 7 or 8 of these motherfuckers, and I don't know what any of them do. And it's frustrating, and they don't explain any of it. And we're like,
see, I think Jordan's in the group saying that he lost interest because he couldn't understand the point of the talking monkey.
They don't explain anything. It's driving me insane. And then my being is to be like, okay, I need to continue watching this because I need to see where this goes. And I've already spent, because once you're in for like 5, they're not short episodes. So once you spent 5-6 hours in, you spent like 5 hours into this show. And I'm like, okay, you've committed at this point, and you can't.
This next one is gonna tell me what I need to know.
I don't understand. And they have a plot line of like, okay, this one person has time traveled and he's back and he's done this thing and he's come back and the world is going to end, and he's trying to explain to them how to help him do it, but he's not sharing any information with anybody, so you are just as confused as everybody else. And I'm like, I don't understand. God damn it. It is so frustrating to watch.
I don't think in all the years that we've known each other, I have never seen a show frustrate you this much. Because usually if a show frustrates you, you just stop watching it. But this, like, you're continuing on, so the frustration is just like building.
Because you get past the point, you're like, oh, this could be interesting. Because you keep telling yourself the next episode, I'm gonna find out what all their abilities are and why we've here. And like, what is this thing they used to do? They used to be superheroes when they were kids. I don't know. That's what the show says. I'm going to keep watching this for second episode, third episode, 5, 6. I'm just going to keep going. They'll tell me eventually, right? And you're just like, God damn it. God, fucking Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy is like the Yard in Madden. They just get you in. They're like, hey, come and do this thing. You're like, all right, cool. I think it might be good. I don't know. I
do I have it in my list? I think I have it in my list. But like, I got the last season or the most recent season of The Flash to finish. I
I'm a
got
little
season
behind on
5 of Lucifer to watch.
I never watched. I never got into Lucifer.
It's a good show. Like I was heartbroken when Fox canceled it, but my heartbroken was taken away once Netflix picked it up. Which I really think Netflix should do. Netflix should pick up a lot more shows that get canceled. At least give them a shot.
Terminator. Sub Netflix.
One thing Netflix has been doing. So like the 2 shows that Netflix has picked up that I watched heavily were Designated Survivor and Lucifer. Okay. And both of those shows, once Netflix picked them up, that following season, so that first season that Netflix basically like produced, they were more gritty in the sense like because it's not cable television, they can do more, they can say more, like it's more I really don't want to say it's more aggressive, but it's just I mean, they can do more and say more. Like they can cuss more. The action can be more. The things that they do and say, like it can just be more. So they can be more detailed in certain things. They can go a little bit bigger in the story or with storylines or characters and stuff like that. So I think Netflix should do that. But one, I think it would help them out. Especially with Peacock soon is going to be taking all those NBC shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. Peacock, like all that's going to be off. Netflix here within the next by the end of this year or something like that. Who knows if things continue on? Because I think movie theaters are now starting to open back up and stuff like that. But people aren't really.
It's crazy because it's funny you mentioned that because Tenet is supposed to be the. Let's get everything back in line, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be the,
we the talked today force. About how the reviews on that movie have been kind of.
We did.
So,
up and
but
down.
I don't know if movie theaters don't get back to like a normal thing, studios like Paramount, NBC, Universal, Warner Brothers, just different studios, they might be like, well, shoot, we'll just make our own app and we'll just do streaming services for our movies. Because wasn't it you that said Disney Plus is releasing Mulan? Yes, you pay like $25, $30, something 30. Like that. And
so, $30, you get, as long as you have access to Disney Plus, you pay $30, you get Mulan as a purchase, and you can just, it's like, you own it as long as you have Disney Plus,
right? Your
subscription active. And again, I don't see any reason why they're also subsequently wouldn't do that with Black Widow, because at this point, it's probably getting to the point where it's time to, and I know we had mentioned before, I think on the previous podcast on Flash and Dash, that Black Widow's got a November release date, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be May, I think. But then obviously, like once COVID hit, like they pushed it back. I think to be honest, I think it would do well on Disney Plus because everyone's watched every single Marvel movie on Disney Plus. That's number one. Number two, if you keep pushing movies back, two things are going to happen. People are going to end up losing interest and want to see the movie, or B, you're going to end up running into a whole bunch of blockbuster movies.
Correct.
Like all since we didn't have a blockbuster summer, all these blockbuster movies are going to have to come out at some point, So if they all try to come out in the theaters, like now you're that opening weekend, you're going to be competing with, and now we'll just play devil's advocate. Because we already know that the next Fast and Furious movie, they pushed that back to 2021. But let's just say that the new Fast and Furious movie, Black Widow, Tenet, what's another blockbuster that got pushed back? We'll throw Mulan in there.
I don't know. I'm not even sure.
So let's just take those four movies: Mulan, Black Widow, Tenet, and the new Fast and Furious. If all those were to be released on the same weekend, which I don't think they would, but if they were, you've got pretty much the same type of people that would go see Tenet would probably see, if not both, either Fast and Furious or Black Widow.
Correct.
Then the same people that would see Fast and Furious, they probably have kids, so they got to choose: do I go and see Fast and Furious, or do I take my kids to go see Mulan?
Right.
So everyone's like, so those movies, you know, they don't make the money that they would have made that opening weekend and stuff like that, because most people don't go to the movie theaters multiple times in a weekend.
Right.
Like, people will go to a movie theater multiple times to see a movie, but it'll be spaced out and stuff like that. No one goes to a movie theater Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
No.
Like, the only time I think I've ever really seen that, people do that for like the Avenger movies. So someone might go on a Friday because they got tickets. Their friends didn't, but their friends got Saturday tickets. So they'll go again on Saturday. But outside of that, like, people don't do that. So streaming, we already know, because TV's doing it. Streaming is the new wave. They just have cable boxes and all that stuff still because people are still utilizing them. But here within the next 30, I don't even think 30, here in the next 15 years, 10, 15 years, I wouldn't doubt if there's not a single cable box or anything like that in anyone's home.
Yeah.
Like, right. all the major cable channels they've already got apps like CBS, ABC, TNT, NBC. Like,
yeah,
we don't need that stuff anymore. So I don't know why we're still going with that. So if I was Disney, I'd just be like, look, we pushed it back. Let's just go on ahead and drop Black Widow, because it doesn't look like COVID's going to be handled or done by November. So people still aren't going to be running to the movie theaters. They got a social distance anyway, so they can't pack the houses. So that's limiting your money. So going ahead, release it on Disney Plus, let people watch it. I think people will be more receptive to that because you don't have to worry about people laughing or talking and all that kind of stuff in the theater. Yep. You can eat your own food. You can watch it when you want to watch it.
And then especially if you got kids, because guess what? You got a few kids. That's $30 is way less than what you, excuse me, than what you would spend going to the movie theater.
Yeah, I think I was having this conversation with my dad, and I was like, the only people that deal actually hurts is single people. Single people that live alone. Now, if you're single and you have like roommates and things like that, then you're still good because like you have multiple people in that house that will probably watch that movie, they use that streaming service, stuff like that. Right. But if you're just one person, yes, you're one person buying a movie for $30. Granted, you get to keep it forever and all that kind of stuff, but that's the only downfall. But me, I'm a single person. If I have that option, I'm still gonna spend that $30 to watch that movie, because for me, a movie ticket is like $15, and then I go to movie theaters that serve like actual food.
Yeah,
the food itself is gonna be like 15, 16, almost $20. So I'm gonna be close to that. I'm gonna be close to that $30 anyway.
Yes, sir.
So let me just do it at home, and I'll be cool with it.
In the comfort of your home. And then guess what? After that, you can watch it whenever you want, because then technically you kind of own it, depending on how the service is handled.
Because then I think it will change. They'll still do box office, but I think they'll also be like, this movie raised X amount of dollars, but this movie also has been streamed X amount of times in this weekend or in the span of a week, or things like that.
For Disney, Mulan is the test dummy, because and especially for the fact that given their expectations for 2020, even at the beginning of the year, Mulan was the expectation for Mulan was that it was going to be their biggest revenue movie, between theaters and whatever sales for the year, right? More so than Black Widow. So Mulan is really their test subject. Like, okay, let's see how much we can. And I think if everything is as receptive as they probably expect it to be, and the sales are fully expect them to just be like, you know what, Mulan is selling. Just go ahead and drop that Black Widow, because why, especially with the way things have been going at the onset of reopening of theaters, and the UK, they've been open these couple of days have been open. I saw news reports where it was like, well, we saw like 3 ticket sales today. Like, okay, like clearly this is not the time and place to be like, let's just open back up. It's not gonna happen. It's not.
People wanted clubs and bars and all that kind of stuff open. Nobody was complaining about the movie theaters being closed.
No, they weren't. And clearly the proof is in the pudding. So I don't think, again, we wanted Tenet to be the catalyst for let's get movies back going again in the theater. And all theaters they expected Tenet to be the godsend for, okay, this is it. Let's get everything back going with Tenet. And it's just like, clearly that's not going to happen. So, look, just
and I get it. Like, people want to watch certain movies, like, and I just use the Avengers because it's an easy example that can fit multiple things. But like Avenger movies, people want to see that in theaters because you've got the IMAX and surround sound, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people have surround sound at their house. Like,
they do.
Granted, it might not be movie theater quality, but it ain't that bad.
No.
Like, it's good. It's good home theater quality. So,
correct.
You'd be missing that element.
Especially if you got headphones that give you 7.1.
But like, because outside of that, I'd be perfectly fine with them releasing it, because then, especially a movie like Tenet, because with the reviews that I've been reading, all that kind of stuff, that's a movie where when I go to see it, I'm gonna need to be focused and paying attention to what's being said, what's being done, what's happening. I don't need to miss certain things because someone said something, yelled something, laughed, talked, cried, whatever.
Correct. That's one of those movies. You need everything.
So,
you need everything.
Just release that. Let me spend the money for it and let me watch it at home, and then I'm good. Because then also with a movie like that, when you're done, you're not leaving the theater like, hold up, what just happened, or why did this be like this? You can rewind back to a part, rewatch something, be like, okay, I need to watch this part again because I missed this.
Facts.
Then you can really understand what maybe a movie was trying to say or what message it was trying to get across, if it was trying to get a message across. And your reviews might be better. Your public reviews might be better.
Correct.
So I think that's a good idea, a good option. But I think, some of the older people that probably make these decisions are just stuck in the dark ages, and they're like, no, you got to go to movie theaters. We want this to be released in movie theaters, and we got to break them out that mold.
Yeah, well, and I've mentioned this before plenty of times on different podcasts and the movie theaters. We would be all right without them. We would be just fine, especially the way things are going. Again, we mentioned Disney Plus, got Amazon Prime, all these places that have like ways to get these things kind of right off the jump. It's like we're reaching a point where movie theaters are starting to roll into the outdated territory. It's like, I kind of don't. I could do this at home, bro. Do this at home. It's gonna save me money, because especially when you have kids, you got,
if we can work from home, what makes you think we can't watch your movies from home?
Correct. And I think this is another one of those things where the companies, these production companies and studios, they can get ahead of this, where it's kind of like, okay, all right, you get this movie's coming out, blah, 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 $20, $30, the case may be. You'll get people to buy that. Sure. You get access to it kind of forever. That's kind of like, okay, I'm buying it, but I'm making sure I'm acquiring access to it. Absolutely. If you can get it day one in full resolution, whatever that may be for you, 1080p, 4K, whatever the case may be, and no quality issues for the people that acquire movies through channels,
through third party acquisition.
But if you could pay for it, day one, you support a director you like or actor, actress, whatever the case may be, but you're getting it full resolution. Like I said, full HD. Yeah, I'll buy that.
And you might actually get more money because think of all the people that don't go to a theater opening night or opening weekend.
Yeah.
But if they can sit at home and do it.
And you're going to get more money out of them anyway. Granted, and that's from a studio perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not talking about theaters. They're going to die, right? Your AMCs, your Regals, because they're not relying on ticket sales. They're relying on concession sales. That's where they make their money, right? The studio is just like, hey, can we sell you this movie?
Yeah, because I don't know what the percentage is that they keep from the tickets and or that they have to send off and all that kind of stuff.
Correct. And whatever that percentage is of a premium adult ticket, anywhere between, depending on where you live and depending on what, if you go prime time and, anywhere between $12, $15, right?
Right.
But if you can sell that movie to your consumer for, again, and I'm going to lowball it, for $20, you're getting A, more money out of your consumer, B, 100% of the money from your consumer, not a portion of $12 to $15, but 100% of between $20 and $30. And you tell them, okay, you get a day one, and you have that. As long as you have whatever service it is, or even if it's not, that's the price you're buying it for. That's yours.
So let me ask you this question. If that were to happen, so we're just moving under the assumption that that's the future,
right?
Studios just release the movies, straight to a streaming service, and you purchase it, at your free will from the streaming service. So if that were to happen, and a movie gets, a lot of streams, makes good money, and we're just gonna go off of opening weekend. If opening weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it makes good money, do you think that could help more movies get sequels? And I'm gonna ask you this, and I'm gonna list certain movies that I'm talking about. So think of a movie like Salt that never got a sequel. Correct. Even though the ending of it definitely determined that a sequel was coming.
Right.
So you got a movie like Salt. And I'm gonna go different realms. So you got Salt. You have the Power Ranger movie that with fans loved it.
The new one you're talking about, the remake.
Right, the new one.
Okay. Right.
And then you had the cliffhanger with Tommy and the Green Ranger, at the end of it. But now they're talking about no sequel or the reboot series and all that kind of stuff. So Salt, Power Rangers. I'm trying to think of another good movie that did not get a sequel that should have. I had one on the tip of my tongue. But do you think that if that were to happen, more movies could potentially get sequels because studios are seeing how much money is actually coming in?
I think that's possible. I think they could. I think that could be a thing. Because that's really what it's all about, right? Those studios, they care about these greenbacks. They care about the dollar signs.
Because maybe the other thing that movie theaters might not need to do, because we're a product of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of proving that you can put out a product, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge budget product.
No, correct.
So
because yes, and to say that they're also, doing it this way, you're going to see a downtick on, if this remains a thing forever long, you're going to see budgets decreased big time. You're not going to get Avengers budgets, for these movies anymore. You're going to get
Michael Bay will only be able to have 2 explosions in his movies.
but it was still
one in the beginning, one at the end.
30 seconds. But you know, you're gonna need to temper expectations, and budgets are gonna decrease. Budgets for these movies are gonna decrease, and again, if we follow along the trend that we've been going on, if things continue the way they are for however long, expect that to be the new kind of normal for this, at least. And especially if we reach a point where theaters don't make it out of this, I don't think they won't. I think theaters will come out on the other end of this still intact.
There will be a smaller quantity of
correct. Theaters. There's a chance that they don't come out on the other end of this okay. And again, if that's the case, and we're talking about like streaming services, we're talking about Disney Plus, they offer what they offer. You know, budgets are going to come down. We're not going to have $200 million budget movies anymore. You can talk 75-ish. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to do, and again, this is something that we talked about in the earlier part of this episode, where we talked about how retro games, you know, we're so big on pushing the fact that gameplay was the most important thing, and we made an evolution where, you know, graphics, and that was the biggest thing. The same thing with movies, that budgets got bigger, and it wasn't so much about plot and story was important. It was more about, you know,
all the special effects and CGI and all that.
And CG and all this crap. And that's where all the money was being spent on, and nobody was paying attention to the storylines. Same thing. So it's just like, maybe when the budgets of these movies come down, we might get better quality movies because they'll be more focused on, okay, the story needs.
And that's a great point right there, because great quality movies come out every year. Because you've always got you got the Sundance Festival, and you got all those are low budget,
indies, right? Like
all those indie
games.
All those are low budget movies, and people love them, adore them, all that kind of stuff. But you know, people don't have the budgets to make those huge, you know, blockbuster style movies. So they're like, all right, we can't do all these special effects. We can't buy this car, because sometimes, you know, I'll be watching TV shows or movies, and I'm like, they literally purchased that car for this scene because they could. Yeah. It has no point, no purpose.
Yeah.
But now Avengers is different, because I think they had like a partnership with Audi. So obviously Robert Downey Jr. always had like the Audi at the end of the movie and all that kind of stuff. And it was like the concept of their future line coming out, things like that. I get that. But there's certain times in certain movies where, like, I'm glad I'll use the Old Guard as an example. I'm glad in the Old Guard, when they were driving around, they were driving around in some older, you know, Audi, because they were in Europe. So in Europe, it's a lot, you know, more common to see Audis than here, you know, in the States. But they were driving around in the old school BMW also. Like, they're not driving around in some brand new 8 Series or some brand new Audi A8 or Q8, anything like that. Like, no, they're not. That's not where the money was going. They're like, we need this car for like 30 seconds of screen time.
Yep.
And we just need to get them from point A to point B. We don't need anything fancy or anything like that. The car might get shot up. Someone might fall on the car. Like, we don't know. We don't need to spend that kind of money.
Right.
So I feel like people will stop making those type of, you know, not adjustments, suggestions, you know, when they're in, you know, product meetings and stuff like that. Like, oh, well, let's get the Lambo for this scene. Well, what do we need the Lambo for? We got the money for it, so let's just grab it.
Let's just use it.
It'll make it look. It'll make the scene look cool. Now, if you just admit that you just got it because you had the money and to make the scene look cool, all right, I'll go along with it because you're telling us the truth. But don't tell us that it actually had like some plot or some point to that scene. So I think stuff, you know, suggestions like that, or, you know, thought process like that would definitely all get thrown out the window, you know, once these budgets start to come down.
Correct. I think eventually, from a consumer perspective, it'll be better. You know, it's the theaters don't want this, obviously, because that'll be the demise of the theater as we know it. And I think
unless they adjust, I
don't know how, but they would have to figure it out. The theater has always been a thing, especially, in this American culture. Theater's been dope. I've seen plenty of movies, and I literally have the receipts to prove it. I got so many ticket stubs. I have a box where I keep my ticket stubs, and I got ticket stubs from like 15 years ago, bro. Like, I got ticket stubs out the wazoo. Just
only
because
ticket stubs I keep are from sporting events.
In my brain, I got those too, and I haven't been to too many. Usually just wrestling stuff and one Yankees game. Like, I got so many. I just want to keep it in my brain. I don't ever want to forget. Like, I want to go through these ticket stubs and like, damn, I want to see this in the theater. Like that's why I keep all these things.
But I know how they can. Adjust. Or a
tell me,
suggestion
please.
How they can
I told you how GameStop could adjust, but they let that ship sail. Eventually, we're gonna give you that SGA Gamers Lounge, but that's a whole different. Go ahead.
What will have to happen? All these movie theaters will have to. Number one, they will have to partner with a studio or with multiple studios.
Correct.
That is for this plan to work. That's number one of what they would have to do. So these studios, obviously, they'll say yes, and they'll get a percentage of whatever's about to happen. Mm-hmm. You take these big monstrous rooms that we all sit in for these theaters, and you literally have to renovate these rooms, and you turn that one big room into multiple smaller rooms, smaller party rooms, whatever. You make a movie theater experience more intimate. Right. So if you want to go watch a movie or whatever, you want it to be more intimate or you just want to get out the house, then you go to a movie theater and you rent a room. And in that room, I would say the room can fit no more than 10 people. Right. So you can do date night there. Small groups of friends can go there. You can have small birthday parties there, whatever. And in that room, you've got a screen, mm-hmm. and on that screen is a digital copy of multiple movies. It's brand new movies, older movies, indie movies, and all you got to do is you just select the one that you want. You pay whatever small, and those will be smaller fees. Mm-hmm. It's not like us, you pay $30 you got at home, because that you're not getting to keep. Right. So you just pay a smaller fee. You watch whatever movie you want. You have your fun in your room, and then boom, you're good to go. They can still sell concessions, and that's how they can kind of survive. Because if one thing that we're learning about COVID, yes, we're learning that there's a lot that we can do at home that we've been doing away from the home, mm-hmm. but people also don't like to be stuck at home. So even though we'll have the option to stream the movies at home, stuff like that, if someone's like, man, we've been stuck in this house all day, or man, we've been stuck in this house for 3 months. Like, you want to go catch a movie? You want to go date night? We're going to the movie theater. Mm-hmm. We're going to rent room 72, and we're going to watch 2 movies or whatever. Right. And that's what you do. Now, the logistics stuff's behind it. Like, do they limit you to 1 movie per room? Do you do a time limit on the rooms and stuff like that? I mean, I don't know. They'd have to figure that logistic part out, but that's just a broad sense of what they could do to stay afloat and still be, a viable resource in the future. Because if not, these buildings just going to be, relics.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if that is what it is, then we've reached the point of no return, and we've reached the point of culmination for the movie theater as we know it.
At least I got my Apple TV.
Well, right. I mean, we'll look back on this, and maybe this is a catalyst moment where COVID killed movie theaters, and it is what it is. Again, I've mentioned it several times before. I was always big on theaters, and I've been to a lot of movies, and I'm just like, I could go without it, because if you tell me I could spend X dollars, support my developer, support my director, support favorite actors I like, and just pay for it. And it's like, okay, you own this digitally through this service. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that. Mm-hmm. Because really, your setup for going to the movie theater is like, okay, how much money am I going to spend in concession? How much money am I going to spend on popcorn and a drink? And by then you're like, okay,
I gas to drive to the movie theater.
I could have owned this movie by that point, right? And That's what Disney Plus is like. Yo, you know what? You're right. Come buy Mulan for $30 because it would have cost you way more than that to take your family out to the movie theater and see this movie. At least.
And then you were gonna buy the DVD of it, 6 months later.
So triple that. So triple that $30. So you know what? Circumvent all of that, and then they're just like, here you go. You know what I'm saying? I think that's Disney. That should be Disney's kind of like thing because it's not a Netflix thing. Netflix is just like Netflix does what it does, right? Netflix is not there for like the shit fresh off the boat. Right. Netflix is just like, okay,
unless it's their stuff.
Right, unless it's original content. The original content is there, and then they add stuff in as they go along. Disney Plus is that service that allows them to be like, okay, you know what? We're circumventing the theater, and here's our brand new movie fresh out the boat. Boom. Oh, okay, how much is it? Cool, no problem. Again, I think we have gotten to the point where we're going to be at a crossroad with theaters. We're going to be at a crossroad with movies. COVID has circumvented that. COVID has circumvented a lot of things that have changed, and some of it for the better. We looked at how food deliveries have changed, where it's kind of like just like contactless, and contactless was something that needed to happen, and COVID helped expedite that process, right? And
especially with all those I don't think they're rumors now, like it's true stories, but the drivers eating people's fries and stuff like that, like that's just
correct. Which is why there's so many companies that seal those bags when the drivers go to pick them up.
Don't touch my bag fries, man. Like bag fries are the best fries.
Hey, buddy. Correct. And just don't do that. Don't mess with people's stuff. If you're a driver, because I'm signed up to do food deliveries as myself, you're a DoorDash driver, your Postmates, Grubhub, Uber Eats, don't eat people's food. It's disrespectful. Just don't do it. It's nasty, especially in time we live in now. Just don't do it. I don't understand. Like, really? Are you not? You're making money to do this. Get your own stuff. I don't understand. Why is this so hard? Just stop eating people's food. That's repulsive. And you're gross. And you're a terrible person for doing it. And you stealing. Like, we're stockpiling here. Come on. Look, me and the best producer in the business, Trey Wingate, we are holding things down here. We've got a perfect track record for these podcasts.
Right.
You will always see us here. We lost our couple of members. Nobody's come back. It's fine. It's fine because this is what we do here at Sports Gaming Anonymous. We keep the ball rolling. We adapt. We improvise. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Did we lose 2 members on this podcast? We started with 4. Yes. Did we miss a beat? No. We kept the ball rolling because that's what we do here. And we're good at doing that. And we love all of you. We love your support. We love the views, the likes, the shares, the subscribes. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Come along with us for the ride. You'll notice that I didn't mention what episode number this is because it doesn't matter at this point. Dre, because he's an excellent producer, he's going to put the episode number in the description, in the title. He's going to do what he does. But I don't need to mention anymore because we have crossed the point of no return. That's it. We passed 7, and that's the magic number. 7 is the magic number where it's like, okay, are you doing this or you're not doing this? And Sports Gaming Anonymous is doing this, and we're here to stay. We are in this. Sports Gaming Anonymous, Flash and Dash, old school gamers. We're here. We're here to stay. Check us out. Dre is going to tell you where you can find us on social media, and I'm going to stop rambling because he's going to tell you all of that stuff.
All right. So if you're watching this video, hopefully you're watching it on YouTube. You can go to our main page here on YouTube, go to the About section, and you can go directly to our Instagram and Twitter pages straight from there. If you have any questions or you want to collab on something, you can hit us up at our SGA email. That's there as well. All you got to do is click those links and do what you got to do from there. If you're not, or if you don't go to the About page, follow us on Twitter at Sports Games Anon. Follow us on Instagram at Sports Gaming Anonymous. YouTube, Sports Gaming Anonymous. Facebook group, join it, Sports Gaming Anonymous. We have fun in there. We talk, we chat about all kinds of stuff. All different points of views are brought up. And, you know, it's a good way to get your point of view across and have constructive, you know, conversation with people. We make sure that, you know, things don't get out of hand and stuff like that. Because, you know, hey, everyone doesn't know everything and we all don't have the same views. So we just want to learn from one another and things like that. We'll be streaming from YouTube. We all stream from our own personal Twitch pages as well. So check those out. Follow us on all those pages. Lastly, because this is YouTube, hit that like button. Subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every time we upload a video, and that's it.
That is perfect. That is excellent. And again, we appreciate y'all for those of you that are consistently following us or consistently adding to our group, our Facebook group page, you know, that they're keeping up with our Twitter account and all that stuff. Again, we appreciate y'all. Madden sucks. You can check out, I got a, you know, tweet out there talking about the bullshit that is Madden on all platforms. You can get me at SGA Flash. Just come check it out. You know, we're out here. And again, thank you all. And for those of you, again, that are our mainstays that are following us, we got some special shout outs for y'all coming soon. Don't you worry about it. We see y'all out there. We see y'all out there in the comments. We see those of you on the Facebook page that you guys are out there making posts. You're interacting with everybody. You're keeping things, you know, respectful. You're doing your things. You're enjoying the you know, the vibes. And we see you out there. Don't think we don't see you, because we absolutely do see you, and we appreciate y'all. Know who you are, and we see you out there. So thank you, Dre Wingate, best producer in the business. Our man Lance Bang Bang Lang was out here. He was out here, you know,
hey, he made an appearance from the shadows.
You know, right. he came out the woodwork, and he made an appearance from way back. You know, our boy Dash was out here having internet problems. Everybody having internet problems. Look, we all from home doing all kind of crazy stuff. Everybody's having issues. So don't front like everybody's not having issues here and there. So it is what it is. But again, I am Flash, aka Ree, aka Flash Extreme. As long as it ain't Henry, we're good to go. Thank you, Dre Wingate, best producer in the business, for joining us. Sports Gaming Anonymous across the board. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. Peace out. Catch y'all next time.
Yeah.